heaven. We call it Monday Match Night. Catch all the hard-pounding JPL Monday night action from now until the end of the season on CVM TV's Monday Match Night. Matchday Mondays at 7:45 p.m. with rebroadcast Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Nothing else can quite match up. Monday Match Night, powered by Sunshine Snacks and ABC Electrical.
Jamaica, make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out, don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
Donald Trump has never left the headlines since his inauguration in late January, and among the reasons for his prominence, the tariffs he announced on China, Canada and Mexico. And while the tariffs on Mexico and Canada are gestating, the ones on China are already taking effect. And so the inevitable question is, what impact, if any, will the tariffs have on us here in Jamaica? What do our manufacturers think will happen? What do consumers on the back end believe will happen to them and their spending power and the cost of items that they will procure through China via the United States? I had I had two academics on Thursday discussing this very issue. This evening, I'm turning to the most influential business grouping in Jamaica, led by Metro Siaga, for this informed perspective on the impact of Trump's tariffs. Lead story, 6:30 p.m. is now. It starts on CVM TV. Well, comment the hour, comment the man. The only thing is that every hour seems to be the Trump hour, an announcement every hour about something that he has signed into being with an executive order. And among the things he has done so far within his first 20 days in office is impose tariffs on China. China, massive trading partner for the United States, and of course Canada and Mexico together with China, the three biggest trading partners that the US does business with. And of course you know that the tariffs on Canada and Mexico are gestating. As I have said, they've been suspended pending further discussions and negotiations between Donald Trump and the leaders of those two countries. The tariffs on the Chinese have proceeded, and he said on Thursday, Trump, that he's taking his own time over negotiating with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. So context is everything, and what is the context within which Donald Trump has proceeded to levy the import duties on Chinese goods, which of course is what a tariff is. We provide that context right now.
Doubt Donald Trump's trustworthiness? Well, here is a promise he delivered on.
We're talking about a tariff of 10% on China.
That's right. Trump has slapped a 10% tariff on Chinese manufactured goods, in keeping with the promise to address long-standing trade imbalances and what the Trump administration describes as unfair trade practices that have hurt American industries. But before there was Canada, Trump did almost the unthinkable in U.S. foreign policy, which was to threaten tariffs on close allies, Mexico and Canada, to major trading partners and neighbors. The North American alliance showed fractures as both countries hit back at Trump with messaging that this was going to hurt the American consumer and even threatening tariffs of their own, spouting their own protectionist rhetoric.
Immediate tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods as of Tuesday, followed by further tariffs on $125 billion worth of American products in 21 days' time to allow Canadian companies and supply chains to seek to find alternatives.
But the neighbors seemed to have worked out their beef and, for now, have called a month-long truce on the implementation of tariffs. However, the Chinese were not spared by the president, some deemed trigger-happy, who promised his base hawkish policies. China is the world's largest manufacturer and accounts for 13.5% of U.S. imported products. Now, major companies like Amazon, Shein, and Temu are already announcing price increases. What most consumers don't know, that while your car might be made in country X, country Y, and Z might have manufactured some of the parts in vehicles, and often in manufacturing, China has a part to play. And will the US stop with China? Well, Trump is threatening the EU and the UK. So will this warpath lead to a worldwide trade war? And how will Jamaica be impacted by a possible trade impasse in the global north? We discuss on Lead Story.
Thank you, Nika. All right, break time here on Lead Story. After the break, Metri Siaga.
Join my private room. Only $1,000 for a grand time.
That I know me. We never said that. But who going to believe me?
That is correct. $4,350,000. Yes, go ahead. $4 million? I never approved that.
Yes, me I go doctor tomorrow. So me have to get the money today, no longer. Then no me face that. We never make no record or beg nobody no money.
Deepfakes are AI-generated images and videos made to look and sound like people we know and trust. They're used to spread misinformation, destroy reputations, and are used to commit fraud and scams. Don't fall victim to deepfakes. Protect yourself. For more information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
Welcome back. It's all about tariffs, import duties, if you may, and the likely impact on the Jamaican economy by virtue of what Trump is doing with his biggest trading partners, which happen to be some of the biggest marketplaces that Jamaicans shop. I have the president of the PSOJ with me, and leading into the discussion with him, the JMEA, they conducted a survey among members. Question: has Trump's proposed policies, such as increasing tariffs, specifically influenced your business decision? Not a large sample size, but for those who participated, almost 73% said yes, and the remainder, of course, saying no. There was no halfway answer. Yeah, most of them believing that they will, they have specifically influenced your business decisions. All right, Metri Siaga, good evening. Welcome to Lead Story.
Hi, George. Thanks for having me.
Good. Now, businesses thrive on certainty. Business people thrive, they sleep better at night when there is certainty in the market. Is there likely to be upheaval and uncertainty by virtue of what's playing out between the United States and its three biggest trading partners?
I think the short answer is yes, George. However, I think when faced with an issue like this and any problem in life, there are two ways you can look at things. Either how can this hurt me or how can it help me? And I have certainly chosen to look at it from how it can help Jamaica. For too long, Jamaica has not taken advantage of its location in the Americas. We have not taken advantage of our free trade agreement with America, with North America. And this may just be the impetus. This may just give us the push that we needed as business people to say to our Chinese counterparts, to say to people that are doing business in China, that are manufacturing in China, and are manufacturing in Mexico, or manufacturing in Canada, and say to those suppliers, listen, instead of manufacturing in those places for the American market, why don't you come to Jamaica and manufacture those products? We can get it, we can sell it into the market of the United States without any duty because there are no sanctions on us. And I think that these opportunities are going to exist. I know for a fact quite a few businesses already have started to have those conversations with suppliers, and Jamaica may just benefit from this. You know, they say what, drop off a head, drop a shoulder. That just maybe what is happening here. Yeah. And I want us as business people to start to realize opportunities, because we can't afford to waste a good crisis. and this may just be a good crisis for us.
So, based on how you see it, Metri, and I'm very appreciative of the posture that you've taken, is this something that the government should drive, or is it that private interests who are in the business of commerce, that they should be looking to strike up partnerships and to invite the kind of reality that you say will benefit us from this crisis?
Absolutely, the private sector has to lead this. We don't want the government involved. Listen, what the private sector wants is the government to get out of the way so that we can carry on with the business of business. So no, we don't think that the government should be involved at this point. If there are any negotiations that need to happen at a government level, yes. If Trump were to decide tomorrow that he was going to start looking at Jamaica, possibly. But right now, no. I think that what we need to do is, as business people, and we are starting to talk to our members already, but as business people in the manufacturing sector, we need to start looking for relationships now for those factories that are manufacturing in areas that are going to be affected by these new tariffs.
All right, so here's the thing. What we have working with right now, Metri, we have special economic zones. We saw prospectus for the Caymanas special economic zone and bids being invited to occupy the space that's there out on the St. Catherine Plains, the former Cane lands. But at the same time, people say, well, look, the logistics hub in Jamaica remains undefined to this day. It lacks structure, it lacks form, and therefore there is no substance there. Are we so far away from putting these structures in place to benefit from the kind of shift and relocation of investment that you are seeing as a result of this China-US trade war?
No, I don't think we're far away, George, at all. I think that the structure is there. I think that the special economic zone has done a good job in developing a good platform from which we can branch out as business people. I think what we have not done is we have not gotten the investment here. And that's the component that we need to do. And as I said, this may be the impetus. This may just be what we needed to kick us in the butt to get us over the line. The structure of this special economic zone is there. The logistics-centered economy, everything is in place for. Our wharf is very good. Our location is very good. We speak the language. We have the infrastructure in place. We have good telecommunications. We have stable power. Maybe expensive, but it's stable, which is more important. So I don't buy the argument that we haven't done enough with the special economic zone. It is for businesses, business people, to take advantage of it. And it can't only be business people here in Jamaica. It's the business people across the world. So I think the part that we have not done in the special economic zone is to go out and bring those investors in, to take advantage of the zones with, and I'll stress this point, with local businesses as their partners.
So what do you see as the vehicle for the opportunity, Metri? Is it that you're envisaging the movement of light industry from China to Jamaica in these special economic zones or in other special defined enclaves, or are you seeing heavy industry moving?
Listen, I think we have to start somewhere. And what I'm interested in is anything that adds value in Jamaica. The higher up the value added chain that we can move, the better. So we're looking at projects now, for example, in the biomedical field, which is significantly higher up the value added chain than we have ever been. We're looking at furniture. We're looking at a host of things now that we just need to get off of the ground. And this, I feel, is really the opportunity for us to so do.
Yeah, you spoke of the issue of energy, and every time you talk to investors, they always cite that. And as you made a brilliant point that what we have not acknowledged is that our energy supply is constant. There's no fluctuation, as my granny would say, that you won't have electricity for 2 weeks or it will be intermittent, damaging your production cycle. But the price is still prohibitive. Well, is it still prohibitive given the elements we have in the energy mix, the LNG and the HFO, which has traditionally been used to drive the JPS's generating capacity?
it's gotten a lot better. It needs to get even more better, to coin a phrase.
Yeah.
So let me just say that we're on the road. Are we going to get, electricity rates comparable to those that are being subsidized? No, we're not. But we can. There are things we can do as business people. Solar is available to us. There are other generation facilities that are coming to Jamaica. Varied types of generation for smaller factories. So there is wind coming, there is hydro coming. So yeah, I feel we're on the right track where that is concerned, coming in the right direction. And we need to stop using that as an excuse, is what I'm saying, George. We need to, listen, if our energy is high, then we need to find low energy products that require small amounts of energy to be produced, but the value can be added in some other way.
Hear you on that. Let's take the break and come right back. This is Lead Story here on CVM TV, talking about the opportunities that arise from this trade war between the US and its best friends, its closest trading partners. The Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association has a survey running among its member entities to determine how they are posturing to respond to the trade war playing out in front of us. Very early stages. More likely, it's better to describe it as a trade skirmish at this point in time. But the two big guns are going at it, China and the United States. And just for context, the United States, let's start with them first because they're the protagonists in this issue. The United States of America accounts for 15% of all goods manufactured globally. 15%. But at the same time, they consume 30% of all goods manufactured around the world. China, on the other hand, accounts for 32% of all the goods manufactured in the world, yet with a population of over 1 billion, they consume just 12%. That's the imbalance that Trump says he wants to correct by virtue of these tariffs, this tariff that he has imposed on China, because he says, look, China is exploiting the United States, running up huge trade imbalances with the United States, and he says that I'm going to tariff my way to parity. And at the same time, he's trained the crosshairs of the tariff gun firmly on the Canadians next door, firmly on the Mexicans next door, and he has threatened them with the tariffs if they do not come to the table and play ball, not on strictly economic issues, but on things such as the movement of drugs across the border from Mexico into the United States, the movement of migrants from Mexico into the USA. Just today they caught migrants coming over from Canada into the US, braving some sub-zero temperatures. So he's using the tariffs as a sort of correction in many areas, not necessarily as an economic tool, although you feel that where China is concerned, it is purely economic. I have the president of the private sector organization of Jamaica, Metro Siaga, with me talking about the issue, and he says he's looking at it as a businessman from the opportunities that present itself. And so, Metro Siaga, when you look at the things that China manufacturers that Jamaica buys by virtue of buying them from the Chinese stores. They are shipped to the United States and then shipped from the USA to Jamaica. It stands to reason that retailers who are involved in this trade and even the bigger companies who are involved in this trade must then at some point pass on the cost of the higher import duties in the United States to the consumer. And I'm wondering if you see this as a real thing that consumers should brace for.
Well, I think that a lot of the things that we buy now are coming directly from China. So we are cutting out.
Well, I said this to you. I said this to you, Metri. I said this to you. If you look at I don't know if you have family members who shop on Shein and these websites. A lot of ladies, especially in my office, they're on Shein every day. And what they say to an individual is that what they order, if they order a dress, if they're going to the PSOJ's ball or going to a banquet, they order a dress, a pair of shoes, what happens as a matter of course is that it's shipped from the warehouse in China. It has to go to the US, something like that, to a US mailing address, and then your importing company here in Jamaica takes it from that US address to the Jamaican location, and then you go and pick it up. So with that kind of movement, clearly there has to be some adjustment in the cost structure to the end consumer having to pay a little bit more, you think?
And maybe what that will make people do is to go and buy directly from the stores out here that have brought it in from China. Who knows? Listen, George, what we can do as business people, we can throw up our hands and say, oh, this is going to affect us, this is going to hurt us. Can the government come in and fix this problem? Nobody's coming to save us. So we have to save ourselves. And I feel that whilst there may be some fallout in areas like that on the overseas sites that people are buying products from and they're going through the States, yeah. But now that may make a consumer in Jamaica think, wow, instead of buying that dress in China, maybe it will be more expensive. So maybe I should start to look at somebody who has bought raw materials from China, brought it in, and is manufacturing that same dress here, or a better dress here, because the quality of our products are far better than those coming from China. So I don't want to look at it as something negative.
Yeah.
I want to look at the positives in it. Will there be some fallout in some areas? Yes. But the market is going to adjust. Things are going to adjust. People will adjust their behavior.
Yeah. You know what I've wanted to ask for a long time, and you are best placed to answer. Mexico, of course, sells an eye-watering amount in value in avocado to the United States. And I know you've had the avocado in the United States. To me, it's tasteless, it's ridiculous. I'm eating it and I'm saying, is this an avocado pear? Because the pear that we have here is flavorful, textured and everything else. But guess what the difference is? There's nobody in Jamaica, there has never been anybody in Jamaica who cultivates avocado in a way that we can have it in a way to export it and to also supply the local market consistently. What we have in the stores and supermarkets, Metro Siaga, is a man know here there is a pear tree or a few pear trees, him go pick the pear, carry it to town and him sell it. And I'm saying, why is it that we have not coordinated our produce of fruits especially in such a way that we are in position to sell to the overseas market, and maybe in this case that is an alternative to the tasteless Mexican pear that the US spends so many millions on each year?
You know, George, the truth is it's economics, and it's not easy. Pear is a hard crop. When I say that, they have a shelf life. They do have, it requires a lot of land space. So I know for a fact now that Jampro is looking at some orchard crop incentives and trying to help farmers to develop varying orchard crops along the way. I think avocado is included in that. However, I'm not really interested in seeing avocados being grown in Jamaica and sold in America. What I want us to do is to take that avocado and make something with it.
Yes.
Add even more value to it.
Yes.
I don't want us, for too long, George, we have taken the product out of our ground.
Yes.
We take bauxite out and we send it away. And we allow other people to get rich by industrializing it.
Yes.
Let us industrialize it here. So grow the pear here. Make pear jam, pear
whatever.
hear something. Do something with the product that we can manufacture here.
Yes.
Just more than picking it off the tree or digging it out the ground.
Yeah.
I want us to get to the point where we start to realize that the more we can do here is the higher up the value added chain will go, is the richer we'll become as a people and as a country. Time has come for us to stop this poor man thing and think that we must take all the things out the ground and sell it to rich people and smart people so that they can do the things.
Absolutely.
Not anymore. Right. I want us now to go to the I don't tell you we're going to start making rocket ship and aeroplane yet, you know.
Yes.
But we have to start somewhere. And what we're doing now is making nothing, essentially.
Absolutely.
Let's
right.
get moving now because President Trump has given us a window of opportunity. Let's take it.
Agro-processing and value added, those are the two keywords.
Right.
Metro Siaga, I thank you for your time this evening. I'm out of it. All the best to you. Thank you for the perspectives.
Thank you very much for having me.
Private Sector Organization of Jamaica President Metro Siaga. You know, there was a time when Roddy Lawson, the former Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Catherine, PNP MP, he had a huge mango orchard in the 80s and 90s. We don't have mango orchards of the size of what Lawson ran in Southwest St. Catherine anymore. And even those we have now, you go, you pick the mango, you put it in a crate, you bring it to Coronation Market and you sell it. You might export a few. Nobody's turning mango into anything. It's 2025 and we're still farming largely the same way we did in 1925. It's ridiculous. And that's why Jamaica is not poised to capitalize on opportunities created in some areas because of this antiquated, antediluvian way of doing farming. That's my time. Curlin Brown is taking pictures, but she'll be settled in her chair in short order to present the news at 7.
When me a drive last week in a road, Muno Manic, me say can't get wing.
The patrol then deep, then jerk. People ball for them back in a taxi, no matter how slow you go.
We need some help and not tomorrow or next week. We need it right now.
Damage to car tires, bumpy car rides, and the traffic frustration. Potholes and bad roads have become the unavoidable thorn in the flesh of the Jamaican motorists. But why? And can Jamaica turn the page to an era of better roads with new roadwork projects? Well, Lead Story is here to investigate. Join George Davis from February 10 to 12 at 8 p.m. for our Lead Story special, the story of the Jamaican pothole. See it happen right here on CVM TV.
Keep on talking to them for a little while until you're cool, man.
When it's to the people have a voice inside of them that talk to them, you know. That is a voice that these people must listen to. Because in everything you're going to do, there's a...
I'm winning cause I work so hard. And the music keeps on playing. And the people them I say we are my show tonight. Oh, what a feeling. Don't stop dreaming. Keep on believing in the power of the feeling. Whatever you want, take a chance. Song in your heart, step in your dance. You got a spark, don't for the dark. Shine your lights on.
You can open a Sagicor Bank savings account from anywhere. Go online and open yours today.
The time by Sagicor Bank is
7 o'clock.
in CVM News at 7. Prime Minister calls for global intervention on gang violence. Parliamentary committee molds citizenship by birth laws. The nation grapples with violence against minors. And find out what's on the menu in traditional flavors. In sports, Reggae Boys show grit in the win versus Trinidad. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7, the start of the weekend, Friday, February 7, 2025. Thanks so much, as usual, for joining us. I'm Curlin Brown. Well, it's election day for Jamaica's Caribbean neighbours, the Turks and Caicos Islands, with early estimates showing approximately 10,000 voters went to the polls to determine the political leadership of the British Overseas Territory southeast of the Bahamas. Tonight, Nika Lewis provides an update from the island of Providenciales.
Well, we're standing here, it's around 7 o'clock now, and in another few more minutes we will be seeing the closing of polls here at this particular polling station at the Gustavo Sporting Complex in Providenciales, TCI. Now, why is this polling station closing at around 7:15 versus 7 o'clock? It's really because it opened later than the other polling stations. So it opened at 7:15 this morning, and therefore they're allowing ample time for the voting process to take effect. Now, at the close of polls, generally, there should be counting. It usually is something more of a manual process. Now it's more electronic. They're employing that system for the first time. And what we are anticipating are the heads of the different political movements and maybe a few independent candidates who may have contested in about 9 spots. Now, aside from that, we know that we will be having a conversation with the Director of Elections, Mr. Lister Dudley Lewis. He is not currently on the compound, but we will be hunting him down, finding him and getting all the details as to what happened today at the elections. What do you need to know is that as it stands, there is no surety who will walk away victorious and form the next parliament in TCI. But the nations are watching because this is a critical election. The last election, I must remind you, the PDM, which is now the opposition party, stepped in the battlefield with 10 candidates. It stepped out with only 1 victorious, and that was its leader. Now, aside from that leader, they're hoping that tonight they will get a chance at redemption in the polls, where they will have a second opportunity to rule over these people here in TCI. It's a mixed population, I must tell you. We've seen signage in French, we've seen signage in Spanish, and we've seen signage in English. We also have encountered people from as far as Philippines, from as far as India, who are now living in this country. And so there is a diverse blend of ideas and accepted philosophies as to what exactly they want from a government. Just reminding you that the governing party, the premier, heads the Progressive National Party, short PNP, but it's not what you think it means over there in Jamaica. And so we're just reminding you to keep locked into CVM TV because we will have all the details right here first for you. So keep watching as the counting continues.
Thank you, Nika. Back home now, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is now seeking global assistance to address the issue of orchestrated violence across the island in light of numerous mass shootings and recent gang-related activities within the country. As Trisha Gay Kelly reports, the Prime Minister believes the issue requires more than local intervention.
The threat of gang violence in Jamaica has evolved over the years. However, so too has the government's approach. In 2024, when the Cherry Tree Lane massacre occurred in Clarendon, Prime Minister Andrew Holness made it clear that those behind the crime would either have to meet the judge or their maker. At a national security seminar on Thursday, Holness said the issue must now be addressed in a different way.
The only adequate descriptor is that they are terrorists. When we call them gangs, it's a euphemism. Raises these issues of social injustice and because they were denied education or proper housing. No, these fellas drive the most expensive cars, use the most expensive liquor. They're not the product of any social injustice.
Amidst recent concern of advocacy groups regarding a reported increase in extrajudicial killings, the Prime Minister admits that in order to address the challenges associated with the heavily armed violence producers, public perceptions relating to gangs must be addressed.
If we're going to make a change in Jamaica as it relates to the level of violence and murder that we have, we're going to have to make significant impact on controlling guns coming into the country and in dealing with the criminal enterprises that we euphemistically call gangs.
He further notes that it's not simply a local effort. Holness says international advocacy is now also necessary.
It will require an international coordinated effort. Jamaica's gang problem is not Jamaica's gang problem alone. I'm using this conference and this platform with all the members of the international community and our partner countries who are here to be clear on what Jamaica's position is, that now is the time for a global war on gangs.
The most recent statistics from the Jamaica Constabulary Force depicts a reduction in major crimes for the period of January compared to the same period last year. Trisha G. Kelly, CVM News.
The St. Andrew South Police have made significant progress following the brutal attack on a 14-year-old girl in St. Andrew who later succumbed to her severe injuries. The shocking incident has left the community in mourning, with questions arising about the suspect's mental state and legal accountability. Shanti McNeil has the latest.
A suspect has been identified in the gruesome death of a 14-year-old who was brutally attacked at her home in St. Andrew. The St. Andrew police is appealing to the public to assist them in locating the man.
Assist us in locating the suspect in this matter, Imani Lignot. He's of a 20 Crescent Road address. We ask you to assist us in locating him so that the death of Price Johnson does not go in vain.
The young girl, a 9th grade student at a Southwest St. Andrew High School, was said to have been asleep in her room when a nightmarish ordeal began. A man, reportedly of unsound mind, entered her home and launched a vicious attack, stabbing her multiple times. The family has been left shattered. The child's mom, Eugene Wade, believes the gut-wrenching incident could have been different.
I just surprised asleep, because if him do something at the door price, only let him in. Because if me asleep, you come to come call the price, oh, mommy not there here. And them see me and say, the price, oh, you tell the man, say me not there. When me asleep, man, if you sleep, man, because you're old, man, if you sleep, man. I say, but price, you're going to make him come I want to see, but make him go on, man. She's that person.
She's especially heartbroken that no one came to her daughter's aid.
Enough people don't run here, sir. So I'm not here or up there, what me do, sir? I don't nothing at all, I don't do run here, sir. Nothing. Nothing at all. But the outer say I pay 1, 2 o'clock, I left my stall. And when war I go on me there, I say, I don't no problem, I don't with nobody. And the most people, every time my coach go up there, so nobody couldn't go up there to assist my little girl.
Meanwhile, questions have arisen about whether the attacker was truly of unsound mind, and if so, in what way should he be held accountable? Consultant psychiatrist Dr. Sapphira Longmore provided comment on the issues to consider.
We have to recognize that there is provisions around the mens rea and the loss of touch with reality that can operate when persons commit crimes. I don't know the details of this situation, but if there is some appreciation to escape the scene, there is some appreciation of the act that was done.
The government senator also called on the government to rethink how mentally ill individuals who commit violent crimes are handled.
There is recognized need for a forensic facility to see to persons who have committed crimes such as this, but recognize that the majority of persons who are on the streets are ill and are in need of care.
Through the heartbreak, Wade holds on to one thing, her faith.
It's God knows everything, and God not carry so far and leave me. No time at all. So I'm every just give God thanks. My earth, yes, I'm feel it, but I just want everybody can just come for me and just talk to me. That not everybody can do that for me, for my little girl.
The police is urging citizens to desist from circulating images online.
We appeal to members of the public to desist from circulating a nude picture of the deceased, the victim.
She could have been so much in her life, but she lost her life way too soon. While our regional guidance team has been at the school offering support and will continue to do so as long as necessary, we're also calling on all Jamaicans to be more vigilant in protecting our nation's children.
CVM News at 7 will continue in a moment.
My JPS app, the mobile app, brave as I said app. With the mobile app, you feel know you can't flop the app in a happiness. Cause what? My JPS app easy, turn a riddle my light of it bright than the moon. If I want thing me love me JPS app, me I tell you about it in the tune. My JPS app easy, turn a riddle for me light of it bright than the moon. If I want thing me love me JPS app, yeah we fully outside with the crew. JPS, pouring what matters.
The road is not a pothole, it's a pit.
When me a drive last week in the road, me say can't get wing.
The pothole then deep, then jerk. People ball for them back in the taxi, no matter how slow you go.
We need some help, and not tomorrow or next week. We need it right now.
Damage to car tires, bumpy car rides, and the traffic frustration. Potholes and bad roads have become the unavoidable thorn in the flesh of the Jamaican motorists. But why? And can Jamaica turn the page to an era of better roads with new road work projects? Well, Lead Story is here to investigate. Join George Davis from February 10 to 12 at 8 p.m. for our Lead Story special, the story of the Jamaican pothole. See it happen right here on CVM TV.
Welcome back. Another mother is pleading with the public for the safe return of her child who has been missing since December. She is dissatisfied with how things have been handled, as you'll hear in this report from Adrian Williams.
As children continue to go missing, one parent is upset at how she believes the matter is being handled by the authorities. Tasika Williams, mother of Naelia Green, has joined the plea, but with much concern as her daughter has been missing since December 23, 2024. That meant no Naelia for the Christmas.
The police that is in charge of the case told me that they would have ensured that they go by the school and they would check records of who was the last person she spoke with and also the last person she messaged and where the phone would have pinged. However, I've been waiting and waiting. No more information from the police. I'm like, what is going on? He's not saying anything to me. I have to keep on reaching out to him.
Her daughter, student of a popular Kingston-based high school, was on the eve of sitting her CSEC exams in 5th form come May. Williams does not believe justice is being served, as she has also complained to school officials, but no satisfactory result.
My daughter told me that she emailed her form teacher twice in regards to a student in the class about the same bullying thing. And she said she's not coming back to her class because of one particular person in the class. She wasn't at her class. The teacher didn't even try to find out, get to the root of it, why the child is not coming to the class. She said she thought it was nothing.
This nothing has allegedly turned out to be over a month with her daughter missing. So Williams has done her digging, hoping this would help the police.
I sent him a photo. I showed him 3 photos and I said, I don't know if this person know her whereabouts, but you can see where they have took photos together. And I said, this is the only guys that I saw in her phone with her. You must can check her phone because from once the SIM is active, you can check the phone. That's when he said, okay, I'm going to send over a person by Portmore. So that was the following day after when I reported that the phone was pinged there. So he said he sent over 2 persons there, but they didn't see her. So I'm saying, but if you send somebody the day after, how is it that you're going to see the person? The person would have already leave.
The mother is pleading with members of the public to share any information they may have on her daughter's whereabouts.
I'm very stressed because I'm on recovery because I did a major surgery and it take a toll on me. Not because people don't see me crying and behaving away. They don't know what I'm going through. I can't eat, I can't sleep because my child is still out there. And I'm saying, if anybody out there know anything about my daughter, Naila Green or Kayla, as Aria, she would have called her name, please, I'm asking you, reach out to me or reach out to the nearest station. Because whosoever have her, you must have sister, you must have mother, you must have a family member to know that she is just 16 years old and you have her out there and don't want to send her home to her family.
Adrian Williams reporting for CVM News.
The police in St. Catherine North are reporting relative calm just now following reports of violence and roadblocks Thursday into Friday morning. Head of the Corporate Communications Unit of the JCF, Stephanie Lindsay, says there remains a strong security presence to ensure order is maintained.
Currently, they have extended the curfew over in the Tospen area and then they imposed a 48-hour curfew in the area that they have been having some issues since last night. So at the moment, there is a strong presence of the security force there. They are ensuring that there's no flare-up of violence and that there are a couple of times persons attempt to block certain roads, but they were not able to do so because of the effective presence of the security forces. So they will continue to monitor the situation throughout the night. And of course, we continue to say to the persons out there that the security forces are out there to keep persons safe and they should try not to disrupt what the security forces are doing.
And the police in St. Catherine North have listed a few persons of interest whom they believe may be able to assist in their ongoing investigations as their clampdown on crime continues. They are Daniel Smith, otherwise called Fire, Cedric Brooks, otherwise called Sledge, Laurel Morris, otherwise called Dan, Dayon Sean, otherwise called Ramos, Eric Miller, otherwise called Chino, and Javon Blackstock, otherwise called Brandon. Now, these individuals are being asked to report to the nearest police station. Parliament is reviewing a bill to safeguard Jamaican citizenship by birth, marriage or descent, while setting rules for revocation in other cases. The discussions come amid broader talks on Jamaica's transition to a republic, with the opposition still absent due to a deadlock over the final appeals court. Here's Ramon Gordon with more.
The bill would protect citizenship by birthright, descent or marriage, meaning these persons cannot be stripped of their Jamaican status. However, Parliament could set rules for revoking citizenship acquired by other means.
This section is preserving what is already in the Constitution about the acquisition of Jamaican citizenship by birth, descent, or marriage. Currently, the Constitution provides that if you acquire Jamaican citizenship by any of those three medium, you shall not be deprived of citizenship.
But how far should that protection go? Some lawmakers questioned whether Jamaica should re-examine citizenship by descent.
We have addressed the issue of nationality by descent for the president to no further than a grandparent. But we know culturally issues around allowing generations of persons born abroad to Jamaicans to participate in our sports. We are a rare people. Should our citizenship be so open that anyone can acquire it? What limits, if any, should be placed on it?
The appeal process for citizenship revocation also sparked debate. The bill allows challenges to be heard by the Court of Appeal, but some argue it should extend to a higher judicial authority.
Citizenship is, to my mind, akin to fundamental rights, and I don't see why it should not. Why I don't understand the policy reason to prevent an appeal or to even cause a doubt as to whether there should be an appeal to the third tier in this type of situation.
With concerns about national security and citizenship rules, lawmakers have invited the Ministry of National Security to provide input before making a final decision. This update comes as Jamaica's former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson encouraged the Jamaicans to reject a proposal for a ceremonial president to replace King Charles III, where they may be a surrogate of the Prime Minister. Public consultations are ongoing, for now still without opposition input, with the committee set to continue its review of the bill in the coming weeks. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
More news in a moment.
For your best life, go check your HIV status. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me, I tell yourself, do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan, do it for your best life. Do it for your best life. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life.
Sports should be fun. Sports should be interesting. Sports should be entertaining. Sports should be riveting. This is CVM Sports. I'm Jordan Freight.
Thanks so much for staying with us. So, question, what's plump, yellow, orangish in color and is often said to be a vegetable? Well, here's another tip. It adds to the Jamaican Saturday pot. Only for these traditional flavors, a Manchester-born foodie moves it to the oven.
Smell this and tell me what you think it is. No, this one.
Pimento? No. Or cinnamon?
No.
Got it wrong.
Zero.
What?
Yes.
Dorrit Nolan has lived in several countries across the world, but she has visited over 30. She's been a jill of all trades, including a nutritionist by profession. Fast forward now to her post-retirement when she returned home to Jamaica in 2005 and settled down in Stone Hill, St. Andrew to be closest to nature and where she was born.
I grew up in the country, and we have been...
Which country?
In Manchester, Craighead, Manchester. And we have been planting from I was tiny. We used to have our little yam field. We grow our own okra and, peas, corn from we were children. So wherever I live in the world, I always have a garden.
And she makes use of her space.
Right here, so I can just open my window and when I'm cooking, whatever I want.
So you're standing close to one of your favorite vegetables that you've been able to turn into production.
Yes.
Traditional Flavors crowns her the master of nutty sugar pies as she turns a fruit we often call a vegetable into a top shelf pastry. You see, scientists say anything that starts with a flower is botanically a fruit.
I grew a lot of pumpkin. I have maybe half an acre. I started planting vegetable. The pumpkin took over it. And I said, some big pumpkins. I said, what am I going to do with all this pumpkin? I tried selling them. I was not that successful selling them. So I started eating them raw. And then from doing raw, I blend them up and make drink with it. And then I said, I can do something else with it. And I normally bake a lot of carrot cake. So I then started substituting the carrot for the pumpkin.
The kitchen is extremely busy with prepping before the big bake. On a typical morning, when you have orders, tell me how does it go?
Sometimes I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's when I start working. So I can deliver by the end of the day or early the next morning. I have it ready so they can pick up. And so I do this maybe 3, 4, 5 times a week. Depends on the amount of orders that I have.
And what about maintaining this special taste?
Well, it is what it is. If you like pumpkin, you're gonna enjoy it. Go down to Coronation Market and go from vendor to vendor and test the pumpkin that they have. They're very accommodating. Once I tell them I'm gonna use it for baking, they will cut it. I said, is this what you want? This is what you want? And I said, okay, fine. So I have no problem with them, accommodating me. And you can't just look at the pumpkin and say, that pumpkin is... Sometimes I taste it to see what it tastes like, before I buy it.
So this is all your idea?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you're holding on to it?
Yes.
Next time, the nuts, the special sweetener, and much more. Lots more still to come right after this.
It's not a pothole, it's a pit.
When me a drive last week in the road, Muno man, me say I can't get wing.
The pothole then deep, then jerk. People ball for them back in the taxi, no matter how slow you go.
We need some help, and not tomorrow or next week. We need it right now.
Damage to car tires, bumpy car rides, and the traffic frustration. Potholes and bad roads have become the unavoidable thorn in the flesh of the Jamaican motorists. But why? And can Jamaica turn the page to an era of better roads with new road work projects? Well, Lead Story is here to investigate. Join George Davis from February 10 to 12 at 8 p.m. for our Lead Story special, the story of the Jamaican pothole. See it happen right here on CVM TV.
We a big deal when we touch ground, yeah. A KFC when we pulling up. Anything for the taste of a KFC, big deal. The time by KFC is
7:30.
What you can we today?
Well, country Cool Hills of Chapelton, Clarendon. That's where me come from.
Macaroni and saltfish. So Jody's taking us down memory lane. You fell in love.
Yeah.
You sweep you off your feet and bring you.
Problem them you still work. You have the remedy, you still work. You wanna just want you look on somebody and tell them this right now, say, yo, you know how to God, that's right there, right, yeah.
Welcome back. This is where we check out what's happening on the social media landscape.
So, what's the buzz online today? Scotiabank has announced that customers who had their debit cards compromised in the recent cyber attack will receive full reimbursement. Cyber thieves have reportedly been using compromised cards to establish Google Pay accounts, subsequently making small-scale purchases. Here are some of your reactions. At Kiana Shares, just check to see if they messed with my 1K, cause... At Lamaz_Bear says, I have been a victim since November. I've made reports, changed my debit card twice. At Z_Whatkiss writes, I am a victim of this craziness. It's small purchases. At Trudy_Trudes posts, full time now the bank system in Jamaica come up with extra security. Them need for update the security because people work too hard for their money gone missing and no way to trace it. At Mecca British comments, I experienced this last night. Had to call quickly to get my card blocked. The purchase was so small, if I wasn't paying attention, I could have easily missed it. At AKL_Rich writes, Uno please fix this cause I can't do nothing in peace. Every minute me I log in and I check my balance. And that's what's trending online today. Continue to share your thoughts with us on X at CVM TV and CVM Television on Facebook. I'm Courtney Lewis.
Thank you, Courtney. Let's now turn to regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. Any imposition of tariffs by the U.S. will have an impact on Barbados and the region. This from Professor of Economics at the UWI Cave Hill campus, Winston Moore, in reaction to the recent announcements of the imposition of trade tariffs by U.S. President Donald Trump. The economist also says the U.S. pulling out of the World Health Organization is a cause for concern. That report from CBC News, Barbados.
The university professor said it would begin with the imposition of tariffs on China. He said China is a key source of goods going through the U.S., and any imposition of tariffs will have a far-reaching effect on Barbados and the region.
So we could see an uptick in terms of inflation. We also have seen the elimination of U.S. aid, and U.S. aid has been a key partner for the Caribbean in relation to a number of development projects, both in terms of education, health, and you name it, a number of different areas. And this has had a significant impact on Barbados and a number of Caribbean islands, where a number of these projects have had to come to a halt. And the projects which have been doing a really good job in terms of stimulating development in the region have no longer been able to continue their really good work.
Professor Moore said tourism and housing projects will be impacted by the imposition of tariffs.
This